What's up, everybody? So a couple days ago I put out my top 10 long range options video, and I promised, as usual every season, that I do a short range video, and that's this video. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the top 10 SMGs right now. Okay, and let's go ahead and start this. Spoiler alert, number 10 is the only non-Vanguard SMG on this list. Not happy about it. There's a few things that I thought about putting on this number 10 spot. I ended up with the UGR. I thought about putting in the Modern Warfare AUG, but it's too slow. Modern Warfare MP5, not enough ammo. Cold War MP5 just doesn't kill as fast as it used to. OTS, same thing. Milano, even though it's popular, it's got good range, it's still really slow to kill. So, there's a handful of SMGs that I thought about putting at number 10. But I sent it up on the UGR. The UGR is extremely slept on. It still has a really good time to kill. And if you don't want to use a Vanguard SMG, I think this is the best non-Vanguard SMG. Provided you have it unlocked, leveled up, all that. And it's the same usual Cold War loadout that you would expect. GRU Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight, Bruiser Grip, and Explosive Flechettes. It gives you up to 36 rounds instead of, 30 or 24. And you get explosive damage, and you get longer damage, further damage range. Now, depending on preference, the Tiger Team does help with movement speed and aim walking speed, and the Bruiser Grip helps with movement speed and hipfire accuracy. You can drop either one of those. If you don't hipfire, I would drop the Bruiser. But you could argue dropping the Tiger Team Spotlight for the overall movement speed if you wanted to go KGB or Spetsnaz, or if you wanted to go GRU Elastic or Serpent Wrap, just to make that ADS faster. You could drop either one of those, but I just find using Tiger Team and Bruiser works the best for me on Cold War weapons. Number 9 is the Sten. This is the fastest moving SMG or fastest moving primary gun, even though we run it as a secondary, in all of Warzone right now, and that's why it's on this list. The time to kill is decent enough to be on this list, but the movement speed is absolutely cracked. We use the recoil booster just like every SMG. The short barrel, because it gives us aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and ADS speed. And bullet velocity, damage range isn't a huge deal up close, and there's not a whole lot of recoil, and you're up close, so that's not really too big of penalties. Mark 6 skeletal, which helps aim down sight speed and movement speed. It used to not help movement speed, and now it does. The 7.62 36 round mag. There is no other 7.62 round mag, but it does increase your movement speed. Either lengthened, subsonic, or hollow point. Up to you. I like to get the bullet velocity just in case I could use it for range, but otherwise I'd probably use subsonic because hollow point does hurt your damage range. Taped grip gives you the movement speed, the weapon swap quickness, sprint to fire speed, aiming stability. Your choice of optic. The Gaiwan Para. The wire stock is also tempting because it gives you movement speed, whereas so does the padded. But the best overall movement speed and it increases your sprint to fire speed is the Para stock. Gung Ho for that instant sprint to fire time. Otherwise, go with Acrobatic for a little bit faster movement speed. But if you want to go max movement speed, you go Acrobatic. But Gung Ho is worth it, especially because you get that instant sprint to fire. And then Quick for the increased in sprint speed. Then we go to the PPSH, which has really been forgotten. It's not my favorite, but the Hipfire PPSH is really accurate hip firing. And it kills really fast. It's kind of been forgotten, but it's still got a good time to kill and good accurate hip fire. So I definitely think it's a weapon that's still worth mentioning. Maybe you move it back on this list a little bit. Maybe you move it up. I'm not the biggest hip fire, but it's hard to ignore. Recoil booster like usual. The 230mm barrel because it's the hip fire barrel. Carver foregrip for the hip fire accuracy. 7.62 71 round mags just for the increased ammo capacity. Nothing gives you extra hip fire, so it's not worth it. And then hollow point, because we're hip firing, we're not as worried about the damage range, so I just run hollow point instead of lengthened or subsonic. Your choice of optic, but I would recommend slate reflector so you can ADS this when you need to. Pine tar grip does give you the best hip fire accuracy of any grip. Remove stock gives you movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and hip fire accuracy. Fleet to increase that movement speed since there's nothing here that helps you with hip fire accuracy. And then Quick for the sprint speed because once again nothing helps you here with hip fire accuracy. Number 7 is the well gun. The well gun's still good. It's definitely not OP and hasn't been for a while. It's not the absolute meta, but it's still very good. It's got good movement speed on it. And so it's going to be recoil booster like usual. The guy with short barrel, just because it increases your fire rate. You could still run the shrouded, hurts your movement speed. But if you're struggling with the recoil on this build, just switch the shrouded. Switch to the shrouded, and you'll get more damage range. And you shouldn't struggle with the recoil. But if you do, the shrouded's a good option to switch to. Here you can go either hand stop, Mark 6 skeletal, because it does give you extra movement speed and your ADS speed. Or you can go strife angled if you find it has horizontal bounce, but I don't find that with the well gun. So I go with the hand stop because it does help smooth out that horizontal and helps with vertical and doesn't hurt your ADS speed. But I'd recommend either Mark 6 skeletal or hand stop. 7.62 40 round mag. It's just always been the go-to mag for me. If you wanted the fastest time to kill, you can go with the 45 caliber 48 round mags. We'll give you fastest time to kill. And then if you're looking for in between and you want more ammo than the 40 round mag, go with the 9mm 64. All work, but I still prefer the 7.62 40 round. Lengthened or subsonic. Taped grip is the way to go now for SMGs. Aiming stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, and sprint fire speed. Just note, if you do run taped grip, you don't need to run amped. And when you're switching to the weapon with taped grip, it's as fast as amped and they don't stack. Remove stock for that movement speed, sprint to fire speed. If you're struggling with the recoil a little bit, I would probably recommend switching to the SA pack stock, but it only helps with horizontal, so I would stick with remove stock. Even though it does hurt your recoil, everything else also hurts your recoil in a way. Gung-Ho, once again, if you're not worried about the instant sprint to fire, go with acrobatic. You could go frenzy if you push a lot, but I would recommend Gung-Ho for that instant sprint to fire, and then quick like every SMG. Number 6, short barrel, MP40. I hate to move this all the way down to 6, but once we start going through 1 through 5, you'll see why. And it's the build that we've been running for a while now. Recoil booster, short barrel, hand stop, or Mark 6 skeletal. But I do find with the short barrel build, you do get a little bit of recoil, so I do like the hand stop. 7.62 45 round mag, lengthened or subsonic. Your choice of optic. Taped grip once again, folding stock again. Momentum because there is no acrobat or anything else that helps with move speed. It's just not worth it. You could go brace if you struggle with the recoil on this build, but I don't think you really should. So I'd recommend momentum just for that move speed after kills, and then quick as usual. Number 5 is the Type 100, which the Type 100 would be higher up on the list if this mag just had 48 to 60 rounds. But because it's short on ammo, it doesn't move up very far on this list. It's still got a very fast time to kill. And so I would still really recommend running this, especially for solos and duos, but it does get hard in trios and quads with that 36 round mag. Recoil booster like usual. This has been pretty much the same build we have been running. The rapid barrel. The change here is the strife angled. It helps with horizontal recoil control. It's an SMG. Vertical is not that important, but if you do struggle with a little bit, consider switching to the hand stop. The strife angle does hurt your ADS, but I don't think that's a big deal on the SMGs. And the reason why I'd recommend the strife angled is the 36 round mag does make it bounce a little more. But if you don't mind it, run the hand stop like I used to have on my build. Lengthened or subsonic, your choice of optic. Skeletal stock still for that sprint to fire speed and movement speed. Because we have Gung-Ho, the sprint to fire speed is not as important, so if you do struggle with the recoil a little bit, go with the weighted stock, or you could try the T100 stock, but I would stick with skeletal still for that movement speed. Gung-Ho for the instant sprint to fire, but if you ADS early or hold angles, I would recommend acrobatic, fleet, or vital. And then quick, once again, for the fast sprint to fire speed, or sprint speed. Number 4 is the Armourera. The Armourera did get nerfed a little bit. It's still very, very good. I still really like it. It's just not top 1 or 2 anymore. And recoil booster like usual. I still like the 315mm stock, especially now with the strife angle. It helps so much with horizontal. I know 550 is one that's popular, as well as the 570. Either one of these will work, but I still like getting the increased damage as well as the less damage fall off and the increased bullet velocity. So I just deal with the little bit harder to control 315mm, but the 550 as well as the 570 are still both very good options. I'd probably go with the 550 if I didn't go with the 315. And then Strife Angled, like I mentioned before, helps with horizontal recoil, so I like it. But Hand Stop also works if you don't struggle with the recoil or you choose to go with a different barrel. And then 9mm 60 round mags. If you're going with one of the more recoil controlled barrels, you could consider the 8mm Curse 72 round mag. Will give you a slightly faster time to kill, I believe, but the 9mm 60 is a really good mag to run. Lengthened or subsonic, your choice of optic. I still like the SA folding stock. If you're struggling with the recoil, go with the body DA stock. It does give you the most amount of recoil control, but it hurts your movement and sprint to fire speed, whereas the SA folding helps your sprint to fire speed and your movement speed. Then I go with taped, like all SMGs, but once again, if you're struggling, go with the grooved grip or go with the hatched grip or polymer grip. You have to kind of feel it out for yourself. Hatch grip is the best balance of recoil. Polymer's best during sustained fire. Grooved, if you're really only worried about horizontal, because you also get the ADS firing move speed, is another good option. But taped gives you the overall movement speed bonus as well as that weapon swap quickness. Hard scope for recoil control, because there's nothing really too great. You could run vital, but it increases your recoil, so once again you'd have to change from the 315 barrel. Sleight of hand's an okay option, but you have 60 round mags, so it's not too important. Same thing with discard. And panic, I just don't think so really that useful, because you're probably going to be rotating with the SMG, so you're probably not going to switch to it very often. And then steady if you want that ADS firing move speed, but hard scope just to help with that recoil control. And then quick, once again, like all the Vanguard SMGs. Then number 3, and just a note, 1, 2, and 3, depending on your preference, are really 1A, 1B, and 1C. They all really compete with number 1. The Blixen, maybe not as much after its lower torso/stomach nerf, but it's still going to be right there in the meta. And it's recoil booster like usual. Bergstrom 17-inch, because that gives you the best recoil control overall. It does hurt sprint to fire speed, movement speed, ADS, and idle sway control. So if you don't want to hurt those, go with the Johnson 9-inch barrel, but I just find the Bergstrom overall is the best. Strife Angle to help with the horizontal recoil, because I think that this gun bounces more than some of the other SMGs on this list. 7.62 54 round mag increases your headshot damage, not as much as it used to, but still does, while giving you better recoil control in ADS, and it's got 54 rounds, which is the second largest mag. The 9mm 72 round mag, I don't think it kills as fast, but you do get 18 more bullets, but you don't get the headshot damage increase. Then lengthened or subsonic, taped once again. But just like with the Armourera, if you struggle with the recoil, consider hatched, grooved, or polymer, depending on how they feel to you. Slate reflector, remove stock. If you're struggling with the recoil, go with the CR10. But remove stock does help the movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. Whereas the CR10 hurts that ADS and sprint to fire speed and doesn't help or hurt the movement speed, but it does help. It helps the movement speed and helps your recoil control a lot. But it doesn't help your movement speed as much as remove stock. Then Fleet for the weapon swap quickness and the movement speed. Perfectionist if you're struggling with the recoil. Steady is also decent for the ADS to strafe during gunfights, but nothing else. I don't think anything else is really worth it. And then Quick. Now SMG2 and SMG1 are the same gun, different uses though. SMG2, which is actually my preference for how to run the Marco, is the single Marco 5. I'll link my Marco video down below. It's the same build in my Marco video. I go more in depth over the Marco in that video. But recoil booster, 342mm barrel, your choice of optic, Perfetto Asada stock, hand stop or strife angled, 48 round drums. The mags, you could go 64, but you're hurting ADS speed, bullet penetration, bullet velocity, and movement speed. Whereas the 48, you're only hurting reload quickness, and all of the mags offer pretty much the exact same time to kill, just with different drop-offs. And so I go with the 9mm 48 round mag. Lengthened or subsonic, taped grip once again. This thing doesn't have a lot of recoil, so taped grip is definitely the way to go. I would ignore hatched, groove, and polymer. Gung Ho for that instant sprint to fire speed, and Quick for that sprint speed, just like all the Vanguard SMGs. And then last but not least, the Hipfire Akimbo Marco. They still haven't touched the time to kill, so it still has the fastest SMG time to kill. It's still incredibly broken kill-wise, time to kill-wise. It's a recoil boost. It's kind of the same build, but not really at all. Recoil booster's the same. The 285 is the Hipfire Accuracy barrel. 8mm round, 8mm Nambu 64 round drum. Not only do you use the largest mag now, and you'll have 128 between both Akimbo guns. This is the Hipfire Accuracy mag. Hollow point, because we're not worried about damage range when you're hip firing, because you're not going to be able to hip fire very far. But so I'd go hollow point or subsonic. Pine tar grip, because that's the Hipfire Accuracy grip. Optic, just use one of the ones that increases accuracy. They pretty much all do the same, either the 4x8 or the 3.25 custom or the 2.5 times custom. They all do pretty much the same accuracy change, so just run one of those. The body HF folding is the Hipfire Accuracy stock. Akimbo, obviously, and then there's no underbarrel because of Akimbo. And then quick for the sprint speed. Definitely not on hand because we're not ADSing. You can't ADS. You could do fully loaded because, you know, you're going to need the ammo when you're using two guns and they're each using 64 rounds. But it's the fastest time to kill, so that's why I put it on the number 1 on the list. But I still do prefer this Marco build myself. But those are the 10 SMGs that I would recommend right now. Statistically, the Marco builds and the Blixen have the best time to kills. There might be some that are better, but then it's like the AUG from Modern Warfare has a really good time to kill, but then it's extremely slow ADS, it's slow reload, it's slow movement speed. And the Vanguard, so when you combine the movement speed, the time to kill, and everything, these really are the best SMGs. I'm not going to go over sim.gg like I did in the assault rifle video, just because it's a lot. You can only do 5 at a time, so I can't even put all of them on one graph, and there's no categories to separate out, so it's really hard to compare all 10 at once. And even if you do it on true game data, it becomes really messy to look at. But I will link sim.gg and or true game data down below if you want to go compare them for yourself and call me out if I'm wrong or right. But that all being said, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the watch time, whether you skipped around or whether you watched all the way through or whatever. I do appreciate all the watch time. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos. You know, anytime I have an update video or if there's something I really recommend, whatever it is, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. And let me know down in the comments below what you think of my 10 SMGs. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I full of crap? Did I get attachments wrong? Let me know down below what you think. And like I said, I will link my Marco 5 video down below. I'll link sim.gg and or true game data down below just so you can go to your preference. And along with all that, I have my social medias linked down below. I post on TikTok and Instagram pretty much daily. I'm planning on starting my Twitch stream again probably this month. And my Twitter's linked down below as well if you want to check that out. But I will see you on Caldera, Fortune's Keep, and Rebirth Island. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.